All right. So next one. This is a photograph. If you want to be more specific, you can say a before and after photo. Okay, so this is a category called before and after photos, if you want the specific term for it, right? And if you want the specific city, this is London. Okay, although those are not strictly necessary. All right, Stephen, thank you very much for volunteering.
Hello, William.
Hello,
Can you hear me?
Welcome to the stream. You can prepare if you like, and then whenever you're ready, go for it.
Yes, could you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Loud and clear.
Okay. Can I begin?
Go for it, mate. No problems.
Okay. The graph shows us the London, and the graph depicts the beginning of the 20th century and the end of the 20th century, respectively. And in the graph in the left-hand side, we can see the transport system is mainly consists of the food or the rickshaws, something about that. And the right-hand side, the transport system is changed to bus and the public transport. And then about the building, the left-hand side we can see is the old British style, and in the right-hand side it have just no change. So in conclusion, we can see that British government should conduct more research about the transport system. Okay,
fantastic. So I would say that in general, right, you probably hit enough keywords there. You said transport system maybe a few too many times in general, right? But you did get enough keywords other than those, right, to fill our requirement for content. So no real problems there. Okay. Your overall speech was pretty surprisingly fluent given that you were freestyling. You were freestyling, right? That wasn't a template.
But I have some stuff in it.
Yeah. There was quite a lot of hesitations, right? Although if you're freestyling, like I said, it's almost impossible not to. You have to be an incredibly talented public speaker if you're going to freestyle an image like that without any hesitations. But unfortunately for a computer, it doesn't actually care about things like that. It's going to count how many ums and ahs you had in there, right?
It's not fluent, I think.
Yeah, it's not fluent enough. So if you asked me what score you would get for that in fluency, I'd say probably around a 60, not quite 65 there. Okay. That's actually not too bad. It's one of the better freestyles I've actually heard, right? But, this is the way I usually explain this is, jugglers, right? Imagine I'm juggling balls, right? If I only have one or two balls, if all I'm thinking about is producing a fluid speech, right? If all I think about is pronunciation and fluency, think of that as two balls. I can juggle two balls, no problem. Don't need any training for that. But once you add in a lot of other things, right? Once you add in, looking for different keywords, right? Constructing logic, constructing grammar and stuff like that, suddenly you're up to 5 balls. Much, much more difficult to handle, right? And the chances of making a mistake also increase exponentially. So this is where, right, strictly speaking, you don't necessarily need to use a template, but I strongly recommend it because it just makes the whole job so much easier.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Otherwise, I would say that in terms of your pronunciation, I think you don't have an even enough emphasis on your keywords. So some keywords like transport system, I heard many times and with a lot of emphasis, right? The volume was clearly higher when you said transport systems. However, when you said some of the other words like buses, right, and carriages and all that, right, those were very quiet and I couldn't hear the proper amount of emphasis that you need for those keywords. So just a problem with consistency. And also something that I said to a lot of the girls, which is you need to push your low notes down. Right? All of your sentences sound like suggestions. They don't sound like statements, right? So like this, it sounds like on the street, there's some buses when it should be on the street, there are some buses, right? That's a statement where we're pushing our sound down.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Stephen. Now, when it comes to images like this, guys, right, what I recommend is now that we know that this image is in the test, just prepare some stuff. Right? For example, you might talk about the London streetscape. You might talk about horse-drawn carriages, you know, red double-decker buses, for example, wide street, office buildings, Ferris wheel, right? People riding motorbikes in modern day, right? There's a large list of different words that you could have, right? This could literally be hundreds of different words here. You can talk about colors like red, gray, and so on and so forth. Either way, right, just prepare like a keyword list before you go into the test, and that way you won't be so lost when you're looking at something like this. If you want me to do a quick demonstration, I can do that for you, okay? So I'll say something like, this is a before and after photograph of the London streetscape. There are several different categories, including the center of the image, the left-hand side, and the right-hand side. And these are further separated into the foreground and the background. As we can see from the image, the most important feature is the large red buses. This is closely followed by the horse-drawn carriages. In contrast, the least important features are the motorcycles and scooters. In conclusion, the government needs to do more research on this topic. Right, so once again, I'm maintaining the fluid state of my speech, right? And I just throw in a couple of keywords just so I have enough content. Okay, does that make sense? Right, it's all about that presentation. Let's make a quick keyword list, okay? So we need roughly 15 keywords for any given image, right? So I'm just gonna put the easy ones, right? Let's start with center of the image, left-hand side, right-hand side, foreground, background. Those were the ones that I said right at the beginning, right? This is my little cheating method. What else did we have? We had red double-decker buses, tourist buses. Now, this is me putting 4 adjectives before the buses. You don't need to use all of them, okay? So don't force yourself to memorize all of them. I'm just putting some in. We can say things like horse-drawn carriages, right? You might say office buildings or apartments. They'll probably both be accepted. We're not too sure which one it is. Wide street, London, British, right? Historical photos, right? Like we said, before and after, right? We've got pedestrians, we've got scooters and motorcycles. And I'm sure, like I said, you can probably find a lot more of these, right? But that's more than enough for you guys to go with, right? Yeah, so you want around 15 keywords, roughly. How did I say the subcategories? I just said there were several different categories, including the center of the image, the left-hand side, and the right-hand side. And these are further separated into the foreground and the background. Yeah, so I just kind of did a very simple version of that. It's a little bit cheaty because I use that for every single photo to reduce the amount of thinking I have to do, right? But that's the kind of thing that I encourage you guys to do, right? Reduce the amount of thinking and focus on the actual presentation. Right, say every word very clearly. Do you notice that when I say things, right, I make sure that my keywords are very, very clearly emphasized. I want to make 100% sure that the computer can hear me and it can identify which ones are the keywords I'm saying. Right, that's my big emphasis here. And you know, with this list, trust me, that's more than enough keywords. You're never going to finish saying all those in 40 seconds. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Right, what I might do is I might just take this list and I'll get Hikuchi to post it up, okay, after the class, and that might help you guys out a little bit. All right,